Hi everyone, welcome to Circle of Faith Sisters YouTube channel. Circle of Faith is a platform where we are helping women and young people to become whole through faith and purpose, and it's amazing to have you here where we're going to be having weekly videos. Please do join us as we go through our spiritual journeys together, empower one another and just be there for one another. Just as a disclaimer, is everyone is on their own spiritual journey. Some of the things that we might talk about here are our own personal experiences and how we interpret the Bible. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the words that we speak is something that you should just take and roll with it. It's really important for you, for your own personal spiritual journey, to go into the word for yourself, understand what is God saying to you about your life. What are the things that he's speaking to you? What is he calling you to do? So I just wanted to put that out there. So my name is Eve. I will be your host alongside Tia every week. So please make sure you subscribe on this channel, and please do share so that we can empower people together and we can walk on this journey together. So Tia started by talking about faith, and that's going to be the series that we're focusing on this month. And one of the things that for me, I have been a person of faith. I would say for the longest time I have been. However, I've not always walked in unwavering faith, because it can be difficult sometimes to walk in faith, especially if you're going through trials and tribulations. If you're coming across so many obstacles, sometimes faith can be something really hard to hold on to. So I'll be sharing some of the things that have helped me to navigate life with being on my own faith journey, and just how the word has helped me to build my faith. So let's get to it. So I'll be sharing the 5 keys of operating in faith, which are things that I apply to my everyday life, and these are things that have really helped me. So the first key is just simply asking. It's not hard, Think of it as when you want something, just from like a friend, your parents, your employee, you want a pay rise, you go ahead and ask. But with that asking is actually asking and believing that it will be given unto you. So Matthew 7:7 says, ask and it will be given. So the same way we apply this in our daily life in asking for things, because I'm sure I can definitely say that every single day I ask for something, whether it's my husband, whether it's my children, whether it's my mom, I used to ask my late dad, my siblings. I always ask for something. So why can we not apply the same technique when we are talking to God, asking God, give me this, give me that? Obviously you have to say please, but it's the same principle. So it's the same principle of just simply asking and it will be given. But you have to understand that it's not just about just simply asking, but it goes on to the second key, which is believing. So whenever you ask of something, you need to also believe that you have received that thing. And you might not always get it. You might not always get it when you ask for it, or you might not get it at all. But it is important to remember that when you're asking for something, believe that you have received what you are asking for. And it says in Matthew 21, if you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. It will be given. So whenever you are praying about something, believe that you have already received it. And the way God works is, God, once you pray, he's going to put everything in motion. But the problem that we have is we often forget that God is God is a God of miracles. God is a God of positioning. Just because you ask then doesn't mean it's going to happen then. In the spiritual world, yes, it's happening. However, in the flesh, it might not happen in that moment. Because there's certain things that come into play whenever God is positioning us for what we've prayed for. He looks at what is our heart posture, what is our character. Are we prepared for what we are asking for? Do we understand what we are praying for? Is it in His will? And this is something that I always say whenever I'm asking God for something. I always say, God, if it is in your will, let it be done. I always put that in my prayer. So whenever you're asking for something, put that in there. Lord, if it is in your will, let it be done. He's looking to see, how do we act when we're in waiting? Are we patient? Or are we just waiting to get what we want and then we just leave? Because that's what a lot of people do. Whenever we're in trouble, we'll go to God, we'll start bargaining with God, we'll be desperate for Him to help. And then when He does answer the prayers, we actually forget, God is the one who did it for us. And we stop praying, we stop, going to church, we stop going into the Word. And when that happens, we then get into another situation that we need God, and then we approach God again. So God sometimes is looking to see, is your heart really in it? Will you still remember me even when things are not good? Will you still remember me when things are good? So it's really important that we understand that. So the next one is hearing. That is another key. The Word of God says that faith comes by hearing in Romans 10:17. So whenever you're asking God, don't just pray and then leave it at that. Are you praying and actually being in silence and actually listening to what God is saying to you? Are you going into the Word? Are you understanding what is it that God is saying about you? What is it that He's asking you to do? Some of you have already received your answers. However, you are not listening. You're so distracted by the world that you are not listening to what God is saying to you. God is probably telling you to move, but because you are so comfortable in your position that you are missing what He is trying to do in your life. And that is why a lot of the things people pray for don't end up coming to fruition, because you have prayed, however, you have not moved, because you don't hear what God is saying. And by hearing, the best way to hear from God is actually to be still. To be still, to be silent, to go into His Word, read about what the Word says about Him, pray, go into prayer, take some time, fasting. So all these things, God will talk to you about how He wants you to respond. So it's really important that you understand what He is expecting of you. The fourth key for me is acknowledging God in Proverbs 3:5-6. Acknowledging God in all your ways. Acknowledge, even when you do get whatever it is that you get from God, glorify Him. Talk about it. Acknowledge Him in all your ways, whether it's your job, thank Him. Have a heart of gratitude. Even if something hasn't come to pass, just talk about it. Trusting and believing that God has already done it. In your prayer time, acknowledge that He is doing it. When something has happened and people are asking you, say, you know what, it's all God. It is all God. Because when you're walking with God, there's a sudden peace there's a certain piece that I've noticed, and people will start to see that, do you know what, there's something really different about you. There's something different about the way you move. There's something different about what you're doing. There's something different that you're doing in your business. There's something different that you're doing in your job. What is that thing? It is God. Acknowledge Him in all your ways, everything that you do. Even in the waiting, acknowledge Him. The last one, that the final key to acting in faith, this one is a must. Because I see a lot of people praying, but they end up missing this one thing that really brings everything together, and that is action. Faith without works is dead. James chapter 2 verse 17 to 26. Come on. When you're praying for something, if you're praying for your business to prosper, you have to put in the work. If you're praying for your marriage to work, you have to put in the work. If you're praying to have, good children, to be protected, you have to put in the work, spending time with them. If you're praying to get a promotion, you have to do your research. You have to put in the hours so that you can get that promotion. You have to ask. You have to believe. You have to stand out. What sets you apart from all the other 20 employees that are in the company? So it's really important that you remember that faith without works is dead. You can pray to God and ask for something, yet you're not willing to put in the work. So how are you supposed to be prepared for what you're asking for? If you can't manage to do something with the little that God has given you, what are you going to do when with what you're praying for is so big that you can't even manage it? So you need to put in the work. You need to be able to, if you're dreaming about being fit and you're asking God for a healthy body, you have to put in the work to take care of your body. You have to research what are the things that your body needs. How do you get into exercises? What kind of exercises do you need to do? All these things are really important. And that brings me to the closing. I hope that you have all taken something from this video. And I think that the final thing that I want to leave you with is trust and believe that everything will work out. Trust and believe that everything that God is doing is for your good. And you have to have faith in everything that you do. Whatever it is that you have been called to do, faith plays a big part. And it is in the doing that God works the most. It is in the work that God works the most. In the action that God will propel you. Don't worry about things being perfect. Don't worry about perfection when it comes to faith, because God will perfect you. He will perfect your faith. Even if you've got wavering faith, pray to God about that faith, and He will perfect your faith. So I hope you've enjoyed this session today, and please follow, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know in the comments, what you've taken from this video, and we will see you again next week for another of our faith series. Bye.